Hello, my name is Jessica Rose. I am on committee for PAC 1221 as the membership chair. I wanted to take a few moments to share with you our Cub Scout 1221 COVID 19 guidelines that we put together. All of these guidelines that I'm going to show you tonight were based upon BSA and district guidance about how to have meetings safely in the Cub Scout world. Number one, all of our meetings in person will be 10 or less. This includes adults and scouts and leaders all together. So this year we did need to make our dens smaller to accommodate for this number, especially for lions and tigers that need that adult partner to participate with them. So we will aim to keep all of our meetings in person to 10 or less people until that executive order lifts. Are that means that our pack meetings, which if you're new or if you're newer to scouts, our pack meetings are what we had in the cafeteria at ACE where all of the scouts in the pack came together for a meeting. Those will have to be done virtually until those guidelines lift and those executive orders lift. But we will still have them. We'll just do those virtually until we can meet all together again. Social distancing. Every scout, every leader, anybody, every adult will need to social distance from those people that are not in their home household group. Of course, if you have sibling that are two siblings that are participating, it's silly to make them social distance, so that will not be required. Number three, for every meeting and every event, we will need to comply with a screening, a short screening, basically asking you, have you felt sick? Has your throat been sore? Have you been coughing? Have you been running a fever? Have you been around anyone that's been sick? That's very standard, pretty much everywhere you go now, and a quick temperature check, which we have a touchless scanner that we'll use like a thermal scanner. Again, no different than anyone else around. We do urge you before you come to a meeting in person to go ahead and take the temperature of the adult in the scout. And if you're running any kind of a fever, we urge you to stay home just in case. Hand washing. We will encourage all scouts and leaders to wash their hands a lot and adults that participate. When we're outside, that hand washing will be done using hand sanitizer. When we're inside and we can have access to soap and water, we'll always use that first. In person meetings. Like I said before, the in person meetings will be a little bit different. Our in person meetings will be limited to 10 people. Again, lions and tigers must have an adult partner to participate with them in accordance with BSA rules. So we will be doing that this year. For your wolves, bears, Webelos ones, and Webelos twos, our in-person meetings will look different as well. We have made dens smaller to make sure that we keep that number under 10 people. All of our in-person meetings, we're going to aim to meet outside because when you're outside, we have more space. It's safer than indoors, so we will aim for that. In the winter months or like during inclement weather like rain, we'll have a backup location that will probably need to be at someone's house. So for the wolves, bears, Webelos ones, Webelos twos, we'll ask if we're outside, which that's what we hope we can stay outside. We'll ask parents to observe from a distance to make sure that their scout is complying with the rules and the safety rules and behaving. If a scout is having trouble with behaving or following our safety rules, then at that time the scout will be asked to return to their parent until they can gain control of themselves and be able to follow the safety rules. So the parent does need to be close, but we don't want the parents like super close, so we can keep that number under 10. Okay. And your den leader will be giving you some more information about how that will work. Contact tracing. Unfortunately, it's what you have to do these days if you want to meet in an in-person group. So we're going to do this as easily as we can. Our contact tracing plan is if your scout or a person in your house or an adult that attends meetings or the den leader attends a meeting and then you find out that you've tested positive or you come down with symptoms, you need to go ahead and let DJ Rose, our committee chair, know that you're experiencing that. DJ will handle it from there in a very discreet, confidential manner. It will not get, we won't tell anyone else that, your scout is the sick one or whatever. We won't release that information. We will let the other den members know that someone has tested positive in that den and that they were exposed. So all of those people can go and get tested themselves to make sure that they're negative. And if a contact tracing official needs to like contact somebody in our pack, that will be DJ. So DJ will handle all of this. They'll be the only person that will know. So you can feel confident and comfortable sharing that information. That is usually a private thing. We don't want anyone to feel like that it's going to be spread that their scout came down with COVID or whatever. But we do need to know to keep everyone else safe and to follow the contact tracing rules. And if a contact tracing official were to, let's say your scout goes to DIM meeting and they test positive and you're going through all that, they may contact the pack to get a list of the people that attended at that time. And at that time, we would be, DJ would be required to release that information. Sign-in sheets, no big deal. We'll make sure that everyone signs in just for that contact tracing piece. Okay, let me go back to contact tracing just a second because I forgot. If a scout were to test positive or a leader or anybody that's in that DIM meeting, pretty much what we would need to do is we would need everybody that was there would need to get a proof of a negative COVID test before that then can meet in person again. So, like my son is Malachi, he is Webelos one. So let's pretend like Malachi was in his den meeting, and one of his den members tested positive. I would not bring Malachi back to in-person meetings or events until Malachi either 2 weeks or Malachi could get a negative test for COVID, and that's just really to keep everyone safe and just make sure that we're not inadvertently spreading the virus. Yeah. Okay. Oh, whoops. Went too far. Let me go back. I skipped over scout behavior really quick, but I kind of touched on it before. It is imperative that your scout be able to follow these rules. Now we know the younger scouts, it's hard. It's very hard for them to understand social distancing. Honestly, it's hard for the older scouts to understand as well. But we really, really need your support as a parent to make sure that your scout can comply with these safety rules. If at any time your scout is not complying with the safety rules, at that time we'll ask that scout to go back to the parent until they can be in compliance with these safety rules. And that's just to keep every scout, every den leader, every parent safe. Okay. And then that brings me to number 10. No surprise here. Face coverings. Unfortunately, they are required and we have to have them. Face covering could be a mask. It could be a shield. If your child has some sort of sensory or asthma, it could be a face shield. It could be a buff, a covering for that. I know a lot of the times in sports they have those like really good, cool, lightweight buffs that you can put over your face. It's no fun. No one likes it, but it is going to be. It has to be requirements for us to meet in person. If you have some sort of medical exemption that you cannot wear a mask, then we will provide you with a virtual option to participate in Scouts. But every person that comes to in person meetings has to have a face covering. If you have questions or concerns about that piece, please by all means just let me know. And if we're outside a lot, hopefully, like we're hoping to meet at the park, have lots of outside, the kids are running around, they're social distance. At that time, of course, they could remove the mask if they're running or participating in any kind of, like heavy breathing, sport like activity game. Okay. But if when they're into meetings and seated, they need to have a face covering. All of our adult leaders and all of our adult leader partners are also required to have face coverings. That's really all I have for you. I know it's a lot, but it's no different than anywhere else. And we do have to follow these rules in order to continue to meet in person. If for some reason that we find that the scouts can't follow these rules or it's not working or adults are unable or not willing to follow these rules, we will have to look at moving to a virtual platform, and we do not want that. I know we did virtual in the spring. We really strongly feel that scouting needs to be in person, face to face, so those scouts can learn all of those really good skills that prepare them for um, a, older scouts if they want to do that. So we're not trying to be mean or hateful or anything like that. We're just trying to keep scouting open so we don't have to go back to virtual scout meetings. It's no fun. If you have any questions, concerns, you're just not really sure, here in a second, in a little bit, we're going to have question and answer session. You can type your question into the chat, or you can always email DJ Rose. I'll give you his name and push it off on him. He's the committee chair, and he's also my husband, so I can push that off on him. So, but seriously, we want to make sure that you and your scout enjoy scouts, and we want to be in person. So, thank you so much for your support in that endeavor.